Welcome on the Cosmic Atom. When many people think of spiritual awakening, they envision a serene experience full of Zen moments, profound meditations, and an unwavering sense of bliss. The premise is that once we achieve this level of awareness, everything becomes obvious, balanced, and simple. However, spiritual awakening is seldom as dramatic as this. What typically occurs is a flurry of changes, some of which may seem weird, even unpleasant, and go beyond what we may anticipate, not just emotionally or mentally, but also physically. Contrary to popular belief, spiritual awakening is marked by ups and downs, periods of clarity followed by bewilderment, experiences of utter serenity, as well as total loss. Every step we take on our road might result in something new and frequently unexpected. The changes you encounter during your awakening may have left you feeling confused or even scared, but this is normal. Each of these processes involves the transformation of emotions, both internal and external. They indicate that something is being reorganized inside you. These adjustments are important for you to become the most true and elevated version of yourself. That is why it is critical to recognize that spiritual awakening does not imply achieving a permanent condition of purity or tranquility. It is, in reality, a road of continuous progress. Strange changes may occur along this road. The most obvious changes throughout the spiritual awakening process might occur in the body, which may seem disruptive at first, but are essential to our evolution. These changes might be so evident that we often find ourselves staring in the mirror and wondering, who is this person? Changes in face features, weight, posture, and even the energy we emanate may be so significant that those who encounter us after a period may struggle to recognize us. However, these shifts are the result of a deeper process. The body's wisdom is releasing stored traumas and dense energies that have collected over time, frequently without our conscious awareness. As you go through this path of self-awareness and healing, your body begins to respond. It transforms, reorganizes, and cleanses itself in unforeseen ways. These bodily changes indicate that your body is adapting to a new frequency and preparing for the development of your awareness. The body is very sophisticated and frequently understands precisely what to do to release what is no longer useful to your progress. So, rather than opposing these changes, we must trust the process. For example, you might have a rapid weight reduction. Even without extreme dieting, the body may begin to lose weight. By releasing emotional weight and energy that have built up over time, the body starts to free itself of physical retention, such as extra water or fat that has developed as a result of stress, unresolved traumas, and restrictive beliefs. During this process, you become aware that you are releasing not just physically, but also emotionally. All the dense energy had gathered over such a long time. This dense energy, which has been held for years by limiting beliefs or painful events, starts to be processed, and this has a direct impact on your physical appearance. This is a reflection of a profound exchange. The body reacts to emotional and spiritual changes in the same way that the mind and spirit do. The body's reaction may be transient, such as weight increase caused by water retention during the energy shift. However, this period will be followed by the release of energy and a return to equilibrium. The most essential thing is to avoid being connected to the surface of these changes. When you realize that your body is evolving, put your confidence in your body's innate wisdom. It is frequently conducting therapeutic work that your conscious mind is unaware of. Instead of attempting to control or reject the process, we must learn to flow with it, accepting the changes as part of our progress. Trusting the process is one of the most valuable gifts we can offer ourselves as our spiritual awakening continues. One of the most noticeable and often shocking transformations is the metamorphosis of the eyes. We are not referring about a mere alteration in physical appearance, but rather a metamorphosis that extends far beyond that. The eyes, as windows to the soul, begin to reflect fundamental interior changes. As I previously said, when a person has a spiritual awakening, something occurs in their energy field. The dense energy gathered over the years starts to be released, as do the emotions and traumas that have been trapped inside us. During this process, the eyes may grow brighter and more lively, as if they had awoken from a lengthy slumber. The brightness in the eyes might be regarded not only as a physical alteration, but also as a representation of a deeper purifying process. These changes in the eyes are one of the obvious indicators that inner work is taking place. When you begin to eliminate emotional and energy obstacles, the clarity that emerges is more than just mental. It pervades the whole body, and that includes the eyes. The color intensity and vibrancy of the eyes may fluctuate, sometimes slightly, sometimes more dramatically. What jumps out is that the eyes begin to radiate strong vitality. They convey genuineness, tranquility, and a direct connection to the individual's core. The brightness, vitality, and clarity that appear in the eyes are one of the most attractive ways to see someone's spiritual awakening. This phenomena is a direct result of trauma recovery, since we carry all of the unprocessed memories, prior sorrows, and limiting beliefs that we've developed throughout time. When we start to remove ourselves from these responsibilities, a profound cleaning happens. This purification reflected in the brightness. Our eyes start to exude. The look gets more lively and deep. And there's a sensation that looking at someone who's gone through this procedure is like gazing straight into their soul. This occurs because when a person undergoes a profound spiritual shift, the energy surrounding them becomes clearer, lighter, and purer, and the eyes, as mirrors of the soul, begin to reflect this inner clarity. You understand it's not just the stare, but the intensity of the energy that comes from it. There are no more deep layers of concealed dread or suffering. It's as if it's a direct reflection of the peace and knowledge obtained along the spiritual path. When we cleanse and realign our energies, we start to create a more true version of ourselves, and the eyes reflect that authenticity. It is not a coincidence that it is claimed that gazing into someone's eyes reveals their genuine nature. They disclose what cannot be said or articulated in words. However, spiritual awakening encompasses more than simply outward or bodily changes. It profoundly affects who we are at our core, affecting our sense of ourselves and the world around us. One of the most profound and uncomfortable transformations of this process is the breakdown of the ego, also known as ego death. The ego, which is a system of beliefs, identities, and defenses that determines our perspective of who we are, starts to crumble during the awakening. This does not imply that the ego vanishes, but rather that the identity formed over life, with all of its restrictions and incorrect ideas, begins to be challenged and dismantled. This process is frequently difficult because it requires us to let go of how we've always seen ourselves and how we've structured our lives and relationships. During ego breakdown, the personal identity experiences significant modifications. What seemed to be a solid and defined version of oneself begins to dissolve, creating a brief emptiness. It may be difficult to not know who we are or where we fit in the world. Many persons going through this procedure have feelings of uneasiness and bewilderment. The old identity, built on previous experiences and restrictive ideas, starts to collapse. In this moment, the genuine journey of self-discovery starts. This is when we start to question the core of our identity. It is when we recognize that what we had considered our identity no longer represents who we actually are. The sense of losing this aspect of ourselves may cause profound confusion. Thoughts like, who am I now? If I'm no longer the guy who defines himself only by his exterior successes, the sense of loss is palpable, and dealing with this interior transition is difficult. However, it is critical to recognize that the process of ego dying is necessary for spiritual development and progress. When the ego melts, it allows the genuine nature of being to appear. It is not about abandoning your identity, but about enabling a more genuine version of yourself to emerge. Resistance to this shift is typically the source of the pain. When we learn to embrace changes and believe that we are being directed to a more authentic version of ourselves, the process gets easier. This temporary emptiness, this sense of being lost, is just a phase. It is transient and essential for the emergence of something new and more in line with our genuine nature. So, if you're feeling disconnected from who you were previously, realize that it's a natural part of the cleaning and liberating process. The old self was bound by restrictive beliefs and behavior patterns that no longer support the new path you're on. It is a natural process, and although it may be difficult, it is also a sign that you're awaking in a profound and transformational manner. Throughout this journey, your individuality will not be lost. It will be rejuvenated and strengthened by connecting with your inner soul. The ego's limits give way to a more broader and real version of oneself. As our spiritual journey progresses, we get a fresh perspective on the world around us. Physical and energetic awareness expands, unveiling previously concealed layers of reality. The first indication of this increased sensitivity is the illusion that you are feeling everything more vividly. Emotions, both yours and others, become more obvious. You may perceive someone's excitement before they grin, or you may feel another person's pain before they say anything. In many circumstances, this capacity to detect the emotions of others becomes so strong that it seems hard not to absorb the vibrations of your surroundings. This may be both beneficial and challenging. Feeling the environment so profoundly might be daunting, particularly if you're not yet totally connected to your own energy as you grow more sensitive. The process of cleaning and balancing your own energy becomes even more important. Other people's feelings and energy continue to exist. They're constantly present. However, when your connection to waking becomes stronger, your energy awareness increases, allowing chakras to open more fully. The energy centers situated throughout the body play an important part in this process. As the chakras open, your capacity to sense and comprehend the energy around you improves, expanding your spiritual consciousness. This enhancement in perception is not confined to human emotions. You also learn to detect energy fluxes in settings, circumstances, and even the things around you, while everything previously seemed static or lifeless. An energetic dynamic, a pulse, and the energy of a space, a conference, or a discourse may now be felt more vividly. This new level of awareness may be enlightening, enabling you to see beyond appearances and comprehend the unseen forces that govern reality. However, if not properly controlled, this sensitivity may be tiring. You may feel overwhelmed by the feelings and energy you begin to absorb, which is when the exercise of discernment becomes critical. The idea is not to suppress or dismiss these energy, but to learn how to regulate them in a healthy manner. This process entails establishing energy boundaries and improving your capacity to discriminate which energies you wish to absorb and which you should release. It is a discipline of self-awareness and self-care that involves comprehending what is going on around and within you. This sensitivity may be transformed into a real superpower. Instead of seeing sensitivity as a weakness or burden, consider it a strong instrument that may offer you with a more in-depth understanding of reality. When you learn to employ this sensitivity in a healthy manner, it becomes an ally in your journey of self-discovery and improving your vision of the world. This superpower allows you to make more real relationships with others, find previously undetected possibilities, and, most importantly, live in a manner that is more in line with your actual identity. As you develop via spiritual enlightenment, the strength of the energy flowing inside you starts to rise. This energy acceleration has an impact not only on the emotional and spiritual levels, but also on the manifestations you draw into your life. The manifestation process, which before seemed sluggish or distant, starts to quicken. This occurs because, as your energy intensifies and purifies, your thoughts, emotions, and actions become more aligned with what you want to produce. The energy you release gets more potent, attracting results with startling rapidity. However, like with everything in life, this acceleration has two sides. Good things start to happen faster, but so do problems and hurdles. To demonstrate this shift, consider a simple example. Imagine your energy as a train. In the beginning, you may be riding with a freight train that is heavy, sluggish, and loaded with obstacles, limiting beliefs, and unresolved traumas. This freight train is traveling, but it cannot achieve high speeds since it is overburdened with the purification and energy acceleration process. This train begins to morph into a bullet train. Your energy is now lighter, more fluid, and quicker, enabling you to create your wishes and intentions with more efficiency. However, as the pace of the processes increases, so does their intensity. When your energy starts to travel faster, changes occur more swiftly and unpredictably. This implies that, although you may begin to materialize positive things more quickly, you will also experience more acute obstacles. Unprocessed emotions, previous traumas, and emotional triggers may emerge at an alarming rate. Problems that were formerly remote or postponed now emerge aggressively, requiring quick action. This rise in emotional intensity and difficulty does not indicate that something is wrong. On the contrary, it reflects the energy acceleration. By releasing heavier energy, the body and mind begin to process previously buried obstacles, clearing the way for increased clarity and lightness. The key to coping with this acceleration is to learn to flow with it without opposition. Instead of being overwhelmed by the quick changes and problems that emerge, try to see them as chances for progress. The acceleration of energy is a summons to deal with what is being brought to the surface in a mindful and fearless manner. By doing so, you not only speed up your manifestations, but also improve your capacity to traverse shifts with equilibrium. With this comes one of the most dramatic changes, an increase in spiritual clarity. This clarity involves not just seeing the world more clearly, but also experiencing reality in an entirely different manner. What was formerly unclear, blurry, or distorted now exposes itself in clearer detail, much like a window being cleaned, enabling light to enter and highlight the actual core of what you are seeing. The example of the filthy glass is particularly appropriate for illustrating the clarity process that occurs upon waking. Throughout life, our perspective of the world is influenced by layers of experience such as beliefs, traumas, and unresolved emotions. These layers accumulated dirt on the glass of your perception, concealing your genuine picture of reality. When you begin to cleanse your energy system, release traumas, and balance your chakras, these layers begin to dissolve. Gradually, the window of your vision gets more transparent, enabling you to perceive the world more clearly and accurately. At this time, your intuition, which was before muffled by distractions and thick energies, becomes clearer. You learn to understand people's intentions more readily, catching up on details that you previously overlooked. This enhancement in awareness extends beyond words and acts. You begin to sense with increasing intensity what is underneath what is spoken or done. You may tell more clearly if someone is honest or fraudulent. The energy around individuals, settings, and circumstances becomes more visible, as if you had a clearer view of the energetic field around you. This improvement in spiritual vision also affects your comprehension of broader, systemic systems around you. You start to see the invisible forces that control social, political, and economic institutions. Seeing more clearly the forces that work underneath the surface requires not just seeing what is in front of you, but also grasping the interconnectivity of everything around you, connecting the connections in a previously fragmented environment. This insight is unquestionably a great talent that emerges from spiritual awakening. Clearing energy blocks allows you to view the world more deeply and authentically. What was formerly puzzling or meaningless now makes more sense, helping you to make choices with more confidence and insight. At the same time, this skill strengthens your connection to your inner essence, allowing your thoughts, emotions, and actions to be more aligned with your deeper nature. In a world full of distractions, spiritual clarity becomes one of your most valuable sources of guidance, allowing you to comprehend not just the world around you, but also yourself. Clarity is a gift that comes naturally as you move along your spiritual journey. As a consequence of this clarity, you may manage life with more insight and judgment, seeing through illusions and living more authentically and in line with your true self. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. If this video connected with you, please like and subscribe to our channel. Share this video so that others might benefit from a message. Don't forget to leave a comment below with your views, insights, and experiences. Thank you again for watching and joining me. Take care and see you soon. Dear viewers, your support through Super Chat and membership is the only source of income that keeps this channel running. If you want me to continue uploading valuable content without delays and to stay motivated in providing you with the best wisdom, I need your help. Every contribution, big or small, makes a huge difference. Feel free to donate and support Pure Wisdom so we can keep growing together. Your generosity keeps this journey alive.
If you're enjoying the content on Pure Wisdom and find value in the messages we share, I encourage you to subscribe. Based on the latest analytics, 93.9% of viewers are watching without subscribing. By subscribing, you not only stay updated with new content, but also support the channel's growth, allowing us to continue spreading wisdom for the chosen ones. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an important message. Let's build this community together.